Hi, it's Jessica DaMassa with WTF Health. With me right now, I have the Executive Director of the Digital Therapeutics Alliance. This is Megan Coder. Megan, how are you?
Oh, great. It's good to be here. Thank you.
Good to have you with us. So I want to start out, have you, the authority, define digital therapeutics for us, because this is one of those things that when you read about it, or when you're talking in industry presentations, it's like everybody's got a different way of defining it. So you, as the authority, tell us, it's a lot of pressure, but you're gonna nail it. So how are you defining, how is the DTA defining digital therapeutics?
All right, so since we started in 2017, we haven't changed the definition. It really is focused on products that are delivering a medical intervention to a patient, software driven, and are actually making a medical claim to prevent, manage, or treat a disease. Okay. So that really is the foundation, hasn't changed at all.
What is digital medicine?
Digital medicine. So earlier this week, we released with the Digital Medicine Society, Health Excel, and Node Health, a categorization of what digital health versus medicine versus therapeutics are.
Thank God. I saw this on Twitter, by the way. It is retweeted.
So digital therapeutics is a subset of digital medicine, which is a subset of digital health.
Okay.
So digital therapeutics is a kind of a digital medicine, but the traditional digital medicines that are not therapeutics are more your digital biomarkers, your ingestible sensors with medications, digital diagnostics, things like that.
Okay. So a digital therapeutic is something though that is actually used to achieve a clinical outcome.
Yeah, it's basically an extension of a clinician into the patient's life in their everyday setting.
I love that. That clears it up. Okay, awesome. Megan, I knew you were the one to ask. Okay, so as this is, the DTA just recently released a number of different kinds of documents to help us kind of, find our way through this whole digital medicine, digital therapeutics, digital health landscape. And so you guys have, for digital therapeutics in particular, a code of conduct, best practices. Talk me through what these documents are and how we're meant to use them.
Goodness. Well, we were just excited to start to put this out because if we're starting to look at what the new industry is, and industry has been around obviously for 10 or so years, but as it's really evolving rapidly, we're looking at what are the best practices that all products should adhere to. What is the foundational level from what companies should do at the ethical level too to protect patients every step of the way. So we're really taking seriously this notion of medical interventions, medical treatments in a patient's life. So how should we do this? And what we're doing is like looking at the underpinning foundation of what really is at the base of all these products while still promoting creativity and competition and innovation and how these are delivered to patients. But really at that foundation level, that's where DTA sits.
Such an important framework to lay down, just so I think everybody's kind of on the same, it really is. And I think that people are looking more and more to the DTA for guidance on this because, especially as this industry starts to go and there's more of a fight for reimbursement. And so I do want to pick your brain on that a little bit because I feel like that is one of the hot topics in digital therapeutics that I think has become a lot more prevalent, especially in recent months. So where are you guys, what are you seeing, first of all, as far as the different digital therapeutics that are out there? Are they getting reimbursed generally or not?
So I won't probably talk to the specific companies or the specific products.
No, you don't have to, but just generally.
Yeah, I like the notion. So if you look at on the US side, there are a lot of larger companies, PBMs included, payers, other health plans, that are starting to look at how do we actually do this well, and what would a formulary look like? What would step therapy or utilization management look like? Would this be under the pharmacy benefit, the medical benefit? Those are all conversations that are being had right now, and it's exciting to see that there's really a good amount of thought leadership within that payer industry. On the EU side, we're seeing the UK as an example with NICE take a really big step in identifying the types of outcomes these products should have, what types of clinical endpoints and evaluations should they undergo. Germany just passed a law, but it's really exciting to see that process too. So there is movement, there is a lot of momentum building right now, and I think that's exciting for the industry just to see that continue to build and the conversations around legitimacy, use, and purpose really evolve.
So as these are evolving, are we reaching any conclusions at this point, or is this still very much a conversation that is midway? I'm trying to get a sense of are decisions starting to be made yet, or are we still in kind of let's look at this, let's explore it, let's see how this goes? Where are we at?
We are still in a process where it's really no one-size-fits-all process right now. So all these products are doing really different things. You have products that are focused on stroke versus ADHD versus asthma versus substance abuse disorder. Those models are going to be so different because how they go to patients, how they get prescribed by clinicians, do they need to be prescribed? how they undergo FDA or PMDA or EMA or notified body clearances or approvals. Like, there's so much there. So I think the exciting part is that there really is so much potential. But again, what DTA is looking at are there baseline frameworks that could underpin that and drive some design of clarity and consistency around, okay, this is what we can do. And I think we're developing some of those notions on that evaluation side and that recognition side. But then in the actual product side, I embrace the creativity.
Okay. How important is clinical validation becoming in the conversations that you're having when you're starting to talk about these frameworks and the pathway to reimbursement?
Of utmost importance. We, from the start of DTA, have been focused on if you're going to be making a medical claim similar to a drug or similar to another therapy, you got to back it up. Yeah. So that would be clinical trials. That's looking at ongoing real-world evidence, product performance data. How do you iterate your product? How do you make sure it's serving its need, meeting the patient's needs? Those are things that are crucial and should never be taken away from the digital therapeutic realm.
For the organization, for DTA, I mean, everybody, I feel like you guys are getting a growing number of eyeballs on you in terms of looking at, in order to lay that framework, like you've said, and establish that pathway forward so that there is kind of a framework that everyone can follow. So what's ahead for you guys, as an organization? What are some of the things that you're working on this year that we can expect to kind of unfold as you guys are going? I mean, you laid out all of these like guiding documents just recently, which I think is such a seminal moment. And then what's going to happen next, Megan?
Well, right now we've had a lot of requests more from the payer community saying we get hundreds of apps, literally and figuratively, a month or a week. How do we go through those? What do we look for? So that's actually going to be a step that we as an alliance are taking of trying to figure out how can we engage in that conversation? How can we engage payers to help know what they need? But then how do we start to work through what is this? What does it do? How does it meet your needs? What needs do you even have in the first place?
Yeah, the evaluation criteria. Excellent.
Yeah, so that's where we're heading as one example.
Awesome, that's exciting. Okay, Megan, thank you so much for joining us. It's so good to pick your brain about this because I feel like I'm talking to it's the authority. Like I'm going to get, you are an authority. I love it. DTA is an authority. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jessica DaMassa with WTF Health. Thanks for watching.